Let me ask you a question. Right now, in early January, how motivated do you feel? Pretty motivated, right? I mean, the gyms are full, journals are open, people have a renewed commitment to goals and resolutions, some of which are actually written down. This year is going to be different, right? And yet, if we're being honest with ourselves, most of these resolutions won't even survive the month. And it's not because people are lazy. It's not because they don't want it badly enough, but because they were taught the wrong way to change. Today, I want to show you why most habits fail, and more importantly, how to build habits so simple, so aligned, and so repeatable that they actually stick, even when the motivation disappears, even when life happens. There's a famous quote from Mike Tyson I love that says, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And having a plan, having these goals, having these resolutions is not enough because life happens and we end up not being able to react to it. So by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how to choose the right habits, how to make them effortless, and how to turn small actions into lasting change. This might be the most important episode you listen to all year. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Salon Scoop, the podcast that helps salon owners and salon professionals grow their business, boost their brand, and stay inspired. From salon marketing and social media to leadership and growth, we uncover the strategies and stories that move the industry forward. If you love learning, growing, and are serious about leveling up your salon business and brand, you've just found your new go-to podcast. Welcome back to a special mindset episode on the Salon Scoop podcast. I did the first one of these 2 years ago in an episode called The Mental Gym. It's been one of our most popular episodes, and we've been receiving requests to do more of these types of episodes, mindset focused. We've done another popular episode about the power of gratitude, and today we're focusing on how to build habits that actually stick. So let's start by talking about why most New Year's resolutions fail. Here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. Motivation is not the problem. The design of our habits, our systems is the problem. Because every January, people try to change their lives using willpower or self-imposed pressure, maybe peer pressure by announcing to some friends or family what we're doing and try to have them hold us accountable. We make big promises that are made in emotional moments, right? Such as, I'm going to work out an hour a day, or I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week, or I'm cutting out sugar forever. Or maybe something that seems more realistic, like I'm not drinking any alcohol this month, dry January, here we go. Or I'm waking up at 5 a.m. no matter what, or 6 a.m., whatever the case may be. We make often generic promises as well, right, that aren't specific, that give ourselves an easy out. Right, here are some examples of that. I want to be around for family dinners more often, right? Or I'm going to eat less sweets and less sugary foods. You see where I'm going by using generic words like more of this or less of that? There's no way to actually measure that. And we trick ourselves into believing that we're on the right path because these goals work for a while until they don't, right? Until life happens. Stress, fatigue, busy schedules, a bad night's sleep, whatever the case may be. And then because we haven't followed through once, twice, 3 times, we kind of give up on the goal, right? And we quit the goal. Not because people are weak, but because the habit was never built to survive reality, right? What actually goes on in our day-to-day lives. So here's a line I want you to remember. Real habits work on your worst days, not your best ones. If your habit requires motivation, it's not a habit yet, all right? It should happen automatically, and it has to happen on your worst days. So I'm going to walk you through 4 principles. How many? 4 principles that'll help you build habits that last. The first principle we're going to work on is start with identity, not goals. Right? You see, most people ask the wrong question. They ask, what do I want to achieve this year? What does success look like? And the better question to ask is, who do I want to become? Right? Who do I want to be at the end of this year? What does that look like that I'm better person, right? Feel better about myself. Because the habits aren't really about the outcomes. They're about an identity, right? Of who we are and how we carry ourselves every single day. So instead of, I want to exercise more, ask yourself, what would a healthy person do daily, even in a tiny way? Because that's the identity of that person, that they do stuff, even on the worst of days, they still don't do those little things. And that's an identity. That's what makes us look at them and say, wow, you know what? That's a healthy person. It's not just, you know what? I'm going to exercise 3 times a week. We're thinking about an outcome. It's more important to think about, what would a healthy person do daily? What does that look like, right? So instead of, I want less stress in my life, ask, what would a calm person practice every single day? We're shifting the focus. We're shifting the mindset. Because here's the key insight. Habits are votes for the person that you believe that you are. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Habits are votes for the person you believe you are. Every time you show up, even in a small way, you reinforce your identity. And the brain loves consistency with identity. The brain wants to make sense of what it sees, right? By categorizing it into something that we know, something that makes sense. So that consistency with our identity, who we believe that we are, we've got to fall into those categories and find behaviors, new habits that can align with that. So your job is not to change everything at once. Your job is to prove to yourself daily who you are becoming. 1% improvement. You've heard that. My girlfriend loves talking about that. 1% improvement is the focus. Small habits, small changes every single day. Don't focus on the outcome at the end. Focus on the process. Okay, the second principle is to make the habit so small that it feels almost ridiculous and just so easy to execute. And this is where most people mess it up. They start too big. Big habits create resistance. Tiny habits create momentum. We get all excited at the beginning of the year. Okay, new year, new me. I'm going to accomplish this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. I'm going to stop eating sugar. I'm going to be less stressed. I'm going to be more organized at work. These are all big ideas. They sound great, but they are difficult to accomplish. We've got to focus on the small, tiny, little actions that lead us to being more in shape, right? To being more healthy, that lead us to being less stressed. Okay, so if your habit feels heavy, complicated, or intimidating, your brain is going to fight it constantly. So you got to shrink those habits into tiny actions. Instead of, you know what, I want to meditate for 20 minutes, I want to take 1 deep breath, okay? And I'm going to do that regularly. But let's just shrink it. Let's start small, 1 deep breath. Rather than, I'm going to go to the gym, right? 3 times a week. I'm going to put on my workout shoes. That's the first small, tiny step. And we have to create that habit first. And that is going to keep motivating us to take the next baby step. Instead of, I want to write in my journal every morning, I just want to write 1 sentence. Let's break it down. Because here's how you need to look at it. You're not training results, you're training consistency. Stop focusing on the results, focus on the process. Consistency compounds over time, just like money compounds. And what I'm sharing with you here is not that different than investment strategies. We all want the quick investment strategy that's going to make us a ton of money, and we're focused on the end result of, you know what, my retirement end goal income, are earning, 15%, 20%, 50%, whatever it is. Whereas if we did the simple investment strategies that Warren Buffett has been preaching for years, they're so simple, we would actually be way further ahead. And it's way easier to actually do. It requires very little maintenance, very little knowledge. It's the same thing as what we're talking about here with habits. Consistency compounds. Intensity, on the other hand, burns out. This intensity of the motivation, it's not sustainable. If you can do the habit on your worst day, then it's the right sized habit. If you're connecting with this, if you're feeling this, there's a resource called Tiny Habits by Dr. B.J. Fogg that I encountered recently that I love. It includes a toolkit to help you select the right habits to focus on, as well as how to create behavior recipes that are just so simple to follow. Free tool that you can find on the website, tinyhabits.com. Okay, so we've identified the right type of habits to focus on, identity-based ones. instead of big goals or resolutions. And we've looked at how to break them down into tiny steps that are ridiculously easy to do, even on your worst days. The next principle is to attach the habit to a routine that you already do. We all want this new habit to be automatic, right? Well, the easiest way to do that is to attach it to a pre-existing habit that you already have in your life, something that is already automatic that you do every day, a routine. We'll call this an anchor because it's solid and it's already locked in place in your life. These can be as simple as brushing your teeth after eating, or pouring coffee in the morning, or turning on the engine to start your car. They are as automatic as it gets. So here's a simple formula to follow. Repeat after me, and then insert the existing routine or anchor. Then I will, and insert the new tiny action or habit that you want to build. So here's a couple of simple examples. After I brush my teeth, I will take one deep breath. After I pour my coffee, I will stretch for 10 seconds. After I sit in my car, I will set one positive intention for the day. Okay, choose something that could happen very naturally after your existing routine, right? So that there's a fairly logical flow to it. The reason why this technique works so well is because you have no reminders to worry about, no decision making to do, no extra effort. The original routine or anchor behavior becomes the trigger for your new ridiculously easy and small action to take. You don't have to think about it because it's already after a big routine, a big anchor that you are already doing. And attaching a new behavior, your target habit, to an existing routine, which is your anchor, makes it so much more likely that you will start doing the behavior more regularly. We're creating a system so that you're not relying on motivation and having to think about your new habit very much. Okay, does that make sense? There's still one more step though that needs to happen to help solidify this whole process, this system that we're creating. And that final principle, number 4, is to celebrate immediately. What do I mean by that? This part may sound small, but it's powerful and extremely important. Remember that we are trying to ingrain behavior in such a way that it happens automatically. So we don't even have to think about it. This requires rewiring the brain. And this final principle sends important signals to the brain about your behavior. So after you do the tiny habit, you celebrate. You can smile. You can say yes. You can nod your head. You can tap your heart. You can squeeze your fist. Whatever you need to do to acknowledge the win. It's important that you choose a technique that works for you, right? Something that makes you feel happy and successful. Sounds corny, right? Trust me, I get it. These are sometimes the hardest things to apply. We're too cool for it. And if we're around, friends or family or colleagues, we don't want to do it because we're afraid of what other people are going to think of us. You'll probably be thinking, all I did was just take 3 deep breaths. Or all I did was, write a sentence in my journal. All I did was stretch for 10 seconds. I didn't just win the Super Bowl or anything. So why do I need to do this? Why do I need to celebrate? Well, because habits are wired in our brain through emotion, not logic. Your brain needs to feel that this is good, this matters. Don't wait for the results, at the end to feel proud. We have to feel proud about showing up and executing in the process, in the present moment. Change is going to happen when you're feeling good, not when you're feeling bad. And celebrating feels good, right? The more you do it, the more that new tiny behavior will feel good and will start to happen naturally. Okay, if you want to get great at creating habits, you need to get great at celebrating. Trust me on this, that emotional reinforcement is what locks the habit in. Let me leave you with this. Success this year is not about perfection, right? It's not about never missing a day. Success is about keeping small promises to yourself. Consistent small actions over time is what leads to positive results. Don't focus on the result, focus on the process. And remember this formula. Find one daily anchor that you already have, a routine that's already there. Attach one tiny habit to it. Include one moment of celebration to reinforce it. That's how you build trust with yourself. That's how confidence grows. That's how lives actually change. And a year from now, your life won't look different because of one dramatic decision that you took. It's going to look different because of the small habits that you refused to stop. So don't wait for motivation. Don't aim for massive change. Start today, start small, and keep showing up for yourself, because small done consistently becomes unstoppable. Thank you so much for listening to the Salon Scoop podcast. This show is produced by Salon S.O.S, a digital marketing agency by industry professionals for industry professionals. If you want simple and affordable solutions for any of your salon marketing needs, such as websites, client loyalty, Google search rankings, social media, or more, come visit us at salonsos.ca or on Instagram at salon.s.o.s. If you want to hear more episodes like this and help us continue to bring the industry great content, it would mean so much to us if you would support us in one of the following ways. Either share this episode with one other industry professional, and rate the show on Spotify, or write us a quick review on Apple Music. We want to hear your feedback. If you have follow-up questions or ideas for future episodes, please reach out. DM us on Instagram at salonis.s.o.s or hit us up on our website again at salonsos.ca. Again, thanks so much for listening. Now go get your hustle on, keep smiling, and we'll catch you on our next episode.